Today, Democrats are facing impeachment polling numbers that deteriorate almost by the hour, and they believe that what will save them is a lecture from 3 liberal law professors. Republicans don't have any burden today. There's nothing we're trying to prove. We think the record evidence establishes that Ukraine was a very corrupt country. The president had a legitimate and deep-rooted concern about the corruption in Ukraine, and specifically Burisma and potentially the Biden's connection there. So we would like to see more fact witnesses. Today will largely be legal analysis that I think will bore the country to death.
Do you think there's any chance that the president is not impeached? I mean, is this a foregone conclusion at this stage?
I believed in January of 2018 that it was a foregone conclusion that the president would be impeached, largely because House Democrats want to show that they have the power. But I think that's very dangerous for the country when we get into reflexive impeachment. Anytime someone has a disagreement on policy or process, I fear that's where we are today.
So where does this process go from here if you think it's a foregone conclusion? Are Republicans going to issue subpoenas? Are you guys going to issue questions in the Judiciary Committee to bring your own witnesses to the table before it gets to that point?
Under the rules of the House, we would have the right for a minority hearing to be able to bring in witnesses and develop facts that we believe would be helpful to the defense. To date, House Democrats have blocked our ability to call our own witnesses and put them on. Here's why that's important. If the president had a legitimate belief that Burisma and the Bidens were corrupt, then that would vindicate his asking President Zelensky to potentially take a look into that corruption. If there was no legitimate belief, if Burisma and the Bidens were all on the up and up, then this would be something far more problematic and far different. But even the testimony of George Kent from the State Department demonstrated that Burisma was dirty, we all knew it, and the president's questions, in my view, then were legitimate.
But there really hasn't been any crystal clear evidence of wrongdoing on the part of Joe Biden. Even if the president has this belief, as you say, why not pursue it through the normal channels? Why not when Republicans were in control of the House in 2016, 2017, pursue that?
No, look, we tried to pursue a lot more as Republicans in the House, and it was largely Paul Ryan who blocked us. I mean, we didn't send out any subpoenas in the 115th Congress under Paul Ryan's leadership, and I think it was largely because he was sympathetic to the people at the FBI and Department of Justice who were railroading President Trump. So that's a fair criticism. We ought to have done more. But right now, we're trying to get to those facts. We want to call those witnesses. We want to call the whistleblower, but it's Adam Schiff and the House Democrats who stand in the way of the factual development that would vindicate the president.
The president's legal team said this week they will not participate in this process. Do you think that's a mistake? Should his attorneys come in here and give a defense?
My belief is that you always take every opportunity you get, even in an unfair process. So if I were the president, I would have sent my team, but I can understand why they have such serious concerns. When you look at the fact that a lot of this evidence was developed in secret in the bunker, when you look at the fact that we don't have access to the reports and documents in real time. This Schiff report, over 300 pages, we only got it yesterday. Democrats had an earlier look, and so it gives them an advantage. But that procedural advantage won't overcome the fact that the president is substantively innocent.
And if he is innocent, why not have John Bolton, Mick Mulvaney come forward, and wouldn't they be the definitive word on some of this speculation, as you put it, about the president's motives?
I'm sure there's a lot of frustration from folks who would like to see that happen, but the president has to weigh the impact on the presidency.
Finally, Congressman, 70% of Americans say that the president did something wrong here. Maybe it's unimpeachable, maybe it's unremovable, but they don't think that his conduct when it comes to Ukraine was maybe appropriate. Is there anything in your mind about what we've seen over the past months with this phone call, with the pressure campaign, with Rudy Giuliani over there, all that? Anything improper?
No, I don't believe the president acted improperly in any way. And I think largely that polling is animated by the fact that we've had a very one-sided process. If Republicans were able to call the whistleblower, call Hunter Biden, put on evidence about Burisma, I don't think you'd see the polling in quite that same way. But if you look at the trend lines, there is no dispute that over the last 2 weeks, Democrats have lost substantial ground when it comes to trying to get a groundswell from the public on impeachment. And I don't think there's any doubt that a lecture today from 3 constitutional law professors is not going to fundamentally change the way the American people view these facts.
Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, thanks so much.
Thank you.